chosen one. You did not arrive here by chance, and this moment was not scheduled by algorithms or coincidence. This video found you because heaven aligned the timing and your spirit was ready to hear what God is releasing now. Anointed one, there is a divine appointment taking place, and you are standing at the threshold of a supernatural shift that will silence every voice that assumed you were forgotten. Chosen one. God has been watching in the hidden seasons, counting what others overlooked, recording every sacrifice, every quiet act of obedience, every moment you kept your integrity when no one was applauding. And now the season is turning. What was delayed is being activated. What was hidden is being revealed. What looked like waiting is about to become transfer. This is not just encouragement. This is a prophetic announcement. You are approaching a divine wealth release, a supernatural provision that does not come from striving, but from alignment. As it is written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, the vision waits for the appointed time, but when it speaks, it will not lie. And chosen one, it is beginning to speak now. Those who misjudged your silence will soon witness God's response. Stay attentive. Stay open. What heaven is about to reveal will change how your story is told forever. Chosen one. Hear this carefully. What once looked like favor withheld is about to be revealed as favor reserved. The doors that stayed closed were not locked to punish you. They were sealed to protect you until your spirit, your character, and your capacity caught up with the weight of what God intended to place in your hands. I've learned this the hard way. There were seasons where I prayed harder, worked longer, showed up faithfully, and still watched others pass me by. It felt unfair until I realized God was not delaying me. He was deepening me, and the same is true for you. Anointed one, you are not stepping into what's next because you finally impressed heaven. You're stepping into it because you stayed true when compromise would have been easier. You didn't abandon your convictions just to stay connected to people who couldn't go where you were headed. You didn't trade your peace for approval. That matters more than performance ever could. Heaven responds to alignment, not exhaustion. And now alignment has caught up with destiny. There were nights you questioned yourself. I know that place. The kind of nights where you replay conversations, wonder if you missed your moment, or ask God if you misunderstood the calling altogether. But chosen one, even when you doubted yourself, God never doubted what He placed inside you. He saw the depth of your discernment. He saw the tenderness of your heart. He saw how quickly you got back up when life knocked the breath out of you. That strength wasn't loud. It was cultivated quietly in everyday obedience, in unseen endurance. And now that quiet strength is about to speak louder than anything you've been through. This shift won't announce itself only through money or opportunity, though those are coming. It will be felt in your presence. People will sense something different when you walk into a room. I've watched this happen before. Not because someone suddenly became wealthy overnight, but because they became settled, anchored, and unshaken. That kind of weight can't be explained. It comes from surviving storms without becoming bitter, guarded, or small. And the beauty is this: you don't owe anyone your story. You don't need to justify your growth or explain your scars. God saw it all. That is enough. Chosen one. We are moving beyond survival. This is a season of recognition, not the shallow kind that fades when attention shifts, but the kind that flows from heaven and echoes into the natural. The kind that says, this one was faithful in private, so I will honor them in public. You are standing at the edge of a season that will not resemble the one behind you. Peace will no longer feel like a daily battle. It will begin to flow. Doors will not crack open cautiously. They will swing wide with clarity and confirmation. And yes, ease may feel unfamiliar at first. Joy might feel strange after years of endurance. That doesn't mean something is wrong, it means something is new. Alignment has finally caught up with identity. You stopped shrinking to make others comfortable. You chose to protect your soul, even when that meant walking alone for a while. Heaven always responds to that choice. As it is written in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, there is a time for everything, and your time is now beginning to reveal itself. What you are stepping into is no longer hidden work. What was cultivated in silence is about to speak for itself. And there is a difference between someone who shines because they were placed in the spotlight and someone who shines because their light could not be extinguished in the dark. You are the second. And this is only the beginning. Chosen one. If you feel the atmosphere shifting around you, it's not your imagination. Something real is happening beneath the surface of your life, and it's been building for longer than most people realize. I've seen this pattern before, both in my own journey and in the lives of those who stayed faithful when it would have been easier to give up quietly. There comes a moment when waiting turns into weight, and that weight becomes authority. That is where you are now. You weren't ignored. You were being formed. While others were being celebrated early, you were being strengthened deeply. There were lessons you had to learn that applause could never teach you. How to stand without reassurance. How to keep moving without validation. How to trust God when there was no visible evidence that anything was changing. Those lessons don't feel holy in the moment. They feel lonely, they feel confusing, but they produce something rare, and rarity always attracts provision. Anointed one. The reason the next season feels heavier is because what's coming carries substance. God does not release increase into unstable hands. He waits until your spirit can hold it without losing itself. That's why the breakthrough arriving now isn't fragile. It won't collapse under pressure or disappear with criticism. This is a transfer rooted in maturity, not impulse. A promotion backed by heaven, not hype. I remember a season where everything in my life looked stalled. Same prayers, same effort, same silence. It was tempting to assume nothing was happening, but looking back, that was the very season where my discernment sharpened, my priorities realigned, and my dependence on approval died. That death was painful, but it was necessary. Because what God releases next often requires you to be free from the need to explain yourself. Chosen one. This is why your presence will soon feel undeniable. Not loud, not forced, just undeniable. People won't be able to articulate what changed, but they'll sense it. They'll feel the steadiness in your voice, the calm in your decisions, the confidence that doesn't ask permission. That kind of authority doesn't come from titles or money. It comes from endurance refined by faith. And yes, doors are opening. Some in obvious ways, others quietly. Opportunities that once felt blocked will begin to move with less resistance. Conversations will shift. Access will come without striving. This isn't because you pushed harder, it's because you became ready. Heaven responds to readiness more than effort. The places that once rejected you will eventually recognize what they couldn't see before. Not out of guilt, but out of alignment. This is not about proving anyone wrong. It's about divine order correcting itself. When God invests in someone, he does not hide the harvest forever. As it echoes in Scripture, what is planted in due season will bear fruit. And your season has arrived. Don't rush to explain it. Don't rush to defend it. Let the fruit speak. Let the peace speak. Let the consistency speak. You are stepping into a flow where provision meets purpose, where recognition follows obedience, and where the weight you carry now works for you, not against you. Hold steady, chosen one. This unfolding is intentional, and what comes next will make sense only in hindsight. Or chosen one. There is a moment when heaven stops whispering and starts rearranging. You are approaching that moment now. What has been building quietly inside you is beginning to exert pressure on the outside of your life, and pressure always precedes release. I want you to understand this clearly because misunderstanding this stage causes many to retreat too early. What you feel right now is not resistance, it is transition. For a long time you lived as if your life were paused. Days moved forward, but fulfillment felt delayed. You showed up, did the right things, kept your faith intact, yet progress seemed invisible. I have stood in that place. It teaches you patience, but more importantly, it teaches you trust without evidence. That kind of trust changes a person. It rewires how you respond to uncertainty. And once that shift happens internally, the external world has no choice but to follow. Anointed one, the recognition coming toward you will not be chased. It will be drawn. There is a gravity forming around your life now. Your integrity has weight. Your obedience has weight. Your resilience has weight. And weight is always felt before it is explained. People will begin to ask what changed, not because you announced it, but because the atmosphere around you is different. You won't need to advertise your growth. It will announce itself. This is how divine order works. God does not rush to vindicate his own. He waits until the contrast is undeniable. That is why some of the same environments that once overlooked you will soon treat you differently. Not because they suddenly became kind, but because alignment has shifted. When heaven adjusts its posture toward a person, earthly systems eventually follow. I remember realizing this too late in my own journey. I spent years trying to make people see what God was doing in me, only to learn that revelation does not come through explanation. It comes through manifestation. Once that lesson settled in my spirit, I stopped striving, and that is when things began to move. The same will be true for you. Chosen one. The blessings approaching now are not random favors. They are responses. Responses to seeds planted when you thought nothing was growing. Seeds of faith when doubt was loud. Seeds of discipline when no one was watching. Seeds of restraint when revenge felt justified. God does not overlook seed. As it echoes in Galatians chapter 6, what a person sows, they will also reap in the appointed time. This is justice, not luck. Justice for nights you endured without answers. Justice for sacrifices that went unrecognized. Justice for choosing not to let pain poison you. And when justice arrives, it does not arrive quietly. It reorders things. Internally first, then externally. You will notice your reactions change before your circumstances do. You will respond with calm where you once panicked, with clarity where you once hesitated. That is evidence that the shift has already begun. Do not rush this moment. Do not downplay what God is doing simply because it feels unfamiliar. Flourishing often feels unsafe at first to someone who mastered survival, but this is not another season of barely making it. This is a season of becoming evidence. Evidence that God does not forget his own. Stand still long enough to recognize it. You are not waiting anymore. You are witnessing the early stages of fulfillment. Or chosen one. This next movement will test your willingness to receive rather than strive. You were trained in effort, endurance, and patience, but now God is shifting you into flow. That transition can feel uncomfortable because your instincts were built in seasons where survival was necessary. I remember learning this lesson, slowly realizing that hard work alone could not open doors meant to respond to alignment. When the season changes, the strategy must change too. Anointed One, you are entering a phase where provision responds to presence. You will notice that things begin to meet you halfway. Conversations become easier. Opportunities arrive without explanation. Support comes from places you did not expect. This is not because you suddenly became more deserving. It is because heaven has marked you as ready. God does not release increase until the vessel can carry it without leaking peace. There is a reason rest keeps surfacing in your spirit. Rest is not passivity. It is trust in motion. As it reflects in Psalm chapter 1, the tree planted by the water bears fruit in season without strain. You are being repositioned beside a source that does not run dry. That source is not human approval, financial systems, or relentless effort. It is alignment with God's timing. Chosen One, expect old cycles to break quietly. You may not hear an announcement, but you will feel the relief. Patterns that once repeated will lose their grip. The anxiety that followed every step forward will begin to dissolve. That is evidence that provision is no longer being chased. It is being assigned. I want to be honest with you. This stage often reveals who was comfortable with you struggling. When ease enters your life, some relationships will feel awkward or distant. That is not loss. That is separation for preservation. God protects what He promotes. He shields increase from environments that cannot steward it. Anointed One. The shift happening now is internal proof before external confirmation. Your confidence will stop swinging with circumstances. Your decisions will carry clarity. You will say no without guilt and yes without fear. That steadiness is what attracts lasting opportunity. Soon, results will follow. Finances will stabilize, then expand. Work will align with purpose. Your voice will carry influence without force. These are not miracles meant to impress others. They are outcomes of obedience compounded over time. Chosen One, do not rush ahead of this process. Let it settle fully. What God is establishing now is sustainable. This is not a momentary breakthrough. It is a new operating system. And once it locks into place, life will no longer demand survival from you. It will invite contribution, leadership, and legacy. Chosen One, you will recognize this shift by how peace replaces urgency. Decisions slow down, yet results accelerate. You stop forcing outcomes and start discerning direction. People who once overlooked you will begin to listen, not because you demanded attention, but because authority matured in you. This is the kind of elevation that lasts. It is quiet, grounded, and unshakable. Receive it with humility. Walk in it with wisdom. This is the foundation God uses to build abundance that blesses not only you, but everyone connected to your obedience. The season ahead honors faithfulness, rewards alignment, and establishes legacy beyond imagination forever now. Chosen One. The next revelation is subtle but powerful, and it requires discernment rather than excitement. What God is releasing now will not announce itself with noise. It will settle into your life with quiet authority. I have learned that the most dangerous seasons are not the painful ones, but the transitional ones, because they demand restraint, wisdom, and obedience at the same time. Anointed One, you are stepping into influence, and influence always attracts attention. Some attention will be genuine, some curious, and some opportunistic. This is why God trained you in obscurity first. When you lacked visibility, He strengthened your discernment. When you lacked resources, He taught you stewardship. Those lessons now become protection. Not everyone who celebrates your rise is meant to benefit from it. You may notice people resurfacing unexpectedly. Old connections, familiar voices, even opportunities that resemble past distractions. This is not coincidence. This is testing. As it is echoed in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, there is always a way of escape when temptation presents itself. Discernment will tell you what aligns and what simply looks familiar. Familiarity is not confirmation. Chosen one, guard your momentum. You don't need to rush, announce, or prove anything. The work God is doing now is structural. He is reinforcing foundations so that expansion does not fracture you later. I once thought speed meant favor until I watched rushed blessings become burdens. God moves deliberately when the assignment is weighty. Anointed one. The financial transfer unfolding is connected to responsibility, not indulgence. Provision is coming with purpose attached. You will feel a growing desire to build support, give, and create impact beyond yourself. That impulse is holy. It is evidence that increase is being entrusted, not simply released. God does not finance ego. He finances alignment. Pay attention to your inner responses. What excites you will shift. What drains you will become obvious. This clarity is part of the upgrade. You are being taught how to say no without fear and yes without hesitation. That clarity will save you years. Chosen one. This stage requires humility, not insecurity, humility. The kind that keeps you teachable even while elevated. Pride leaks influence. Humility multiplies it. I've seen doors remain open longer for those who stayed grounded than for those who rushed to claim titles. Expect movement but not chaos. Expect increase but not confusion. Expect recognition but not noise. God is aligning your steps so precisely that even delays will serve you. This is what it means when Scripture speaks of paths being ordered. You're not wandering, you're being positioned. Do not compare your unfolding to anyone else's timeline. What you carry requires custom preparation. Shortcuts would have damaged you. The process protected you. Now the fruit will justify the wait. Chosen one, stay attentive, stay anchored, stay obedient. The foundation being completed now will support everything that rises next. This is not the peak. This is the base. And from this base, what God builds will stand. This season invites patience, courage, and reverence. Do not underestimate small confirmations or quiet progress. Heaven often whispers before it moves publicly. Remain faithful in routine obedience because consistency completes what passion begins. What God finishes through you will outlast trends, applause, and temporary excitement in this appointed, unfolding moment. Chosen one. This stage will require courage of a different kind. Not the courage to endure hardship, but the courage to trust stability. After years of uncertainty, peace can feel unfamiliar, even suspicious. I know this personally. When life finally slowed down for me, I had to relearn how to breathe without waiting for the next problem. That relearning is part of your preparation now. Anointed one. God is shifting your nervous system as much as your circumstances. The constant alertness, the readiness for loss, the instinct to brace for disappointment, these patterns are being gently dismantled. This is holy work. You cannot carry sustainable abundance while your spirit is still trained for survival. God heals the inside first, so the outside does not overwhelm you later. You may notice your reactions changing before your reality fully does. Situations that once triggered anxiety will now meet calm. Conversations that once drained you will feel neutral. Decisions that once felt heavy will become clear. These are signs that alignment is settling in. Scripture speaks of a peace that surpasses understanding, and this is what it feels like when it begins to take root. Chosen one, the supernatural transfer unfolding is not only financial, it is emotional, relational, and spiritual. God is restoring your capacity to enjoy what He gives, to rest without guilt, to receive without fear, to build without burnout. This is the difference between temporary blessing and lasting provision. I want you to be aware that growth often feels quiet at this stage. There may not be dramatic signs yet, no sudden applause, no public confirmation. But beneath the surface, systems are reorganizing. Resources are aligning. People are being positioned. Heaven is methodical. Precision always precedes visibility. Anointed one, resist the urge to rush results. Rushing reveals insecurity, not faith. Trust reveals maturity. What is forming now is resilient. It will not collapse under scrutiny or pressure. God is establishing something that can endure time, not just impress people. You will soon recognize that your voice carries more authority, not because you speak louder, but because you speak from certainty. When you speak, others will listen differently. Not out of obligation, but out of recognition. This is influence earned through consistency, not charisma. Chosen one, continue to honor the small instructions, the quiet nudges, the moments where obedience feels ordinary. These are the building blocks of your next level. I have seen God move faster through simple obedience than through intense striving. There will be moments where you question if anything is happening. Do not misinterpret silence as stagnation. Roots grow in silence. Foundations form underground. As it is written in Isaiah chapter 40, those who wait upon the Lord renew their strength. Waiting is not inactivity. It is alignment in progress. You are closer than you think. The stability forming now will support expansion soon. Stay grounded, stay present, stay faithful. What God is completing in you during this stage will ensure that when increase arrives, it remains. This is how overflow becomes legacy rather than burden. Receive this season with patience, gratitude, and humility, because what is forming will outlive applause. Protect your heart. Bless others, and testify that divine timing, not human effort, authored the breakthrough you are now stepping into with peace and lasting purpose. Chosen one. What comes next will challenge your old identity more than your old circumstances. You have spent so long becoming strong that now God is teaching you how to become secure. Strength kept you alive, but security will allow you to build. This distinction matters because the season ahead is not about survival stories. It is about stewardship stories. Anointed one. You are entering a phase where consistency matters more than intensity. God is no longer asking you to push through walls. He is inviting you to manage open doors wisely. I've seen people lose momentum, not because they lacked faith, but because they didn't know how to live once the pressure lifted. That is why God slows this part down. He is retraining your habits, not just changing your circumstances. You may notice that your appetite for chaos is disappearing. Drama feels exhausting. Noise feels intrusive. You will crave order, clarity, and simplicity. This is not boredom. This is maturity. It is evidence that your spirit is no longer fueled by adrenaline, but by alignment. Scripture reminds us that God is not the author of confusion, and when your life begins to reflect that order, you know alignment is active. Chosen one. The people who remain close to you now will matter more than the ones who cheer loudly later. Pay attention to who respects your boundaries, not just your progress. God often reduces the circle before he increases the impact. Not everyone can walk with you into a season where stability replaces urgency. Some were only assigned to your endurance season, anointed. One, financial clarity will begin to form alongside spiritual clarity. You will think differently about money, time, and energy. Spending will feel intentional. Giving will feel joyful. Saving will feel peaceful. This is not restriction. This is wisdom. Provision settles best in a mind that is no longer panicked. You may also notice a desire to plan again, to imagine long-term, to build something that lasts. That desire is sacred. God would not awaken vision without preparing supply. As it is reflected in Proverbs chapter 16, plans succeed when they are committed to the Lord. You are not dreaming randomly. You are remembering who you were always meant to become. Chosen one, resist the temptation to downplay your growth. Humility does not mean denying what God has done. It means honoring him by stewarding it well. You do not need to apologize for stability. You do not need to shrink to make others comfortable. Peace is not arrogance. Security is not pride. This season will reward discernment. You will feel prompted to move slower with some decisions and faster with others. Trust that instinct. It is sharpened wisdom, not hesitation. God is teaching you timing because timing protects increase. There will be moments when old fears try to resurface, thoughts that ask, what if this doesn't last? Recognize those thoughts for what they are, echoes of a past that no longer governs you. You are not returning to that chapter. This foundation is different. Chosen one. You are not arriving at the end. You are arriving at the beginning of sustainability. What God is establishing now will support years, not moments. Stay anchored. Stay teachable. Stay present. The season ahead will not need you to run. It will need you to remain. And remaining after all you survived is its own form of victory. Chosen one. This final stage is about integration. Everything God has been forming in you now begins to work together as one. Strength, discernment, peace, provision, vision, all aligning into a steady rhythm. This is where many people feel an unexpected quiet, and they mistake it for stagnation. But this quiet is confirmation. Noise was necessary when you were fighting. Stillness is necessary now that you are building. Anointed one, you are stepping into a life that no longer revolves around reaction. You will respond instead of react. You will choose instead of scramble. This shift may feel subtle, but it is profound. I remember realizing one day that I was no longer rushing my prayers, no longer bargaining with God, no longer asking him to fix emergencies. I was planning with him. That moment marked a true transition. The same is happening for you. You are not being rushed because heaven is not anxious. God is not trying to catch up. He is establishing you. The supernatural transfer unfolding in your life is settling into systems, habits, and relationships that can carry it forward. This is how blessing becomes legacy. What is given to you now will outlive emotional seasons because it is being anchored in wisdom. Chosen. 1. You will soon recognize that your life is becoming an answer for others. Not through speeches, but through example. People will watch how you handle peace, how you manage resources, how you remain grounded. They will sense that something different governs you. That difference is not luck. It is alignment made visible. You may feel called to mentor, guide, support, or build something that didn't exist before. That call is intentional. God does not heal, restore, and provide without purpose attached. What you carry now is meant to circulate, not stagnate. As it echoes in Scripture, freely received means freely given, not recklessly, but wisely. Anointed One this season invites gratitude. Not emotional gratitude that fades, but practiced gratitude that anchors humility. Gratitude protects you from entitlement. It keeps your heart soft while your life expands. I have seen more damage done by ungrateful abundance than by lack. God trusts you now because gratitude has been forged into you through hardship. You are no longer defined by what you survived. You are defined by what you steward. That transition is sacred. Do not rush to label it. Live it. Let it mature naturally. You will notice that even challenges feel different now. They no longer threaten your identity. They simply require solutions. Chosen One. This is not the climax. It is the calibration. From here, growth becomes steady. Expansion becomes intentional. Provision becomes consistent. Peace becomes normal. This is the fruit of divine timing. You were not delayed. You were prepared. If there is one thing to remember as you move forward, it is this. You do not need to prove anything anymore. The season of explanation has ended. The season of embodiment has begun. Walk gently, decide wisely, remain connected. What God has completed in you will now work through you. Stay faithful in the ordinary. Stay obedient in the unseen. Stay humble in the increase. The life ahead will not be dramatic, but it will be meaningful. And meaning outlasts excitement every time. This is how heaven shocks those who thought you were forgotten, not with noise, but with permanence. Chosen One. Receive this as your confirmation. You are standing in your appointed moment, your Kairos time, where heaven completes what was prepared in silence. A divine transfer is already moving toward you. Do not shrink, do not question, do not delay. Walk forward with gratitude, alignment, and faith. Stay faithful, stay yielded, and let God finish what He has begun in you.